How's it going, everybody? Seth here. I think Andrew's going to join at some point, but I don't know. I was just going to draw. I'll get Andrew in here whenever he joins in and stuff like that. But for the most part, just me putting together a illustration for Andrew and I are putting together a podcast. So be on the lookout for that. And you can watch me kind of put some of this art together for it. Let me do one quick thing here, and then I will get in on this. Feel free to ask questions or chat or anything like that. That'll be nice instead of me just sitting here in quiet, but maybe that's what people like. Okay. Oops. Not liking this. So this is what I'm getting into, huh? I mean, I did... I mean, I just think this is a better thing. Let me try... I still need to do the word mark on this too, and so that's kind of a problem because I'm just like I want it to be in a certain spot. But... Ugh. What do we got here? We got Andrew coming in. Alright. Let's get him in here so it's not just pure quiet. can I not call?
What's up?
How's it going?
You there? Am I here?
Yeah? Can you not hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Oh. Good.
You're sharing your screen. How's it going?
I'm not sharing my screen because you just showed up. I'm sharing my screen to the internet, but not specifically to you. There.
Is that Uatu? I can't tell because I gotta pull this. I gotta make this bigger.
It's just a bald guy.
Oh.
How are you?
I am. I exist.
Yeah.
I didn't accomplish anything yesterday, so
That gives you more to accomplish today.
yeah, that's not exactly.
How that works.
Maybe a positive way to look at it in a certain light, not exactly in an inspiring way.
Yeah, Kirsten wants to walk today, and I'm just like, yeah, that'd be really cool, but also not walking.
I ran errands this morning since I didn't go get groceries yesterday because I just could not motivate myself to get out of bed.
Yeah.
I was awake. I thought I was past these funks, but it was just like one of those mornings where you just like don't want to get up because you know once you get up you got to do stuff.
Yeah.
So it's easier to just like force yourself to be unconscious.
Uh-huh. Been there.
I just like laid in bed forever, and then when I finally got up, I was like, I don't have enough time to go to the store now because it's like noon, and that's like when I like going. Like 10 o'clock is the perfect time because there's no one there.
Mm-hmm.
I got there around 11 today.
When everybody's there.
There were people there, and I was stuck in line when I was trying to check out behind a woman teaching her 2 daughters how to pay with real cash money.
What?
I was stuck behind like essentially 3 people. I went to that line because I was like, oh, they've got like a lot of stuff, but
no, I mean, like, what do you have to teach people?
They were little kids, and I guess I don't know if they had birthday money or what, but they had their own little like plastic Ziploc baggies of cash, and they had like their toys, and the woman paid for all of her stuff.
Oh, and she was just like, okay, now you're gonna pay for your stuff.
And then the kids like loaded their stuff up, and like it was a ridiculously expensive amount of crap that they bought. Like one girl had like $200 worth of shit. But they had these little plastic baggies, and then they would just like count it, and she's like, okay, now count it out. And I was just like, oh my god, I want to go. And like multiple times I almost left the line before that, where I was just like, they do have a lot of stuff, when it was first just the woman. And I was like, yeah, but I can't really see what's going on with these other like lines, and you know, they're probably almost over, and I'm just an impatient person, so like it's always when I talk myself out of my impatience that is the one time I should have listened to the voice that's like everything is taking too fucking long. But yeah, it just took forever, and then when I got back was when I messaged you, and I had grabbed lunch because I just like did not have time, and now I feel like garbage because I got fast food because I was just like, I gotta eat something fast so I'm ready.
You never have to eat something fast so you're ready for me.
But yeah, Yesterday, I sat around all fucking day. I watched YouTube, and YouTube is the worst rabbit hole to go down because it's very easy to just like watch one video and then another video and then video. I think even more easily than it is to do that on like Netflix. And, I just like I went down like a little bit of a rabbit hole, and then I listened to every episode of that Shonen Flop.
How's that? I haven't listened to it since I mentioned it to you.
It's fine.
It's not anything groundbreaking, but
it's a subject I'm interested in enough to listen to each episode, and like I said, I listened to them at like 1.5 speed, so they go by relatively quick. It's weird to listen to a podcast made with two guys with a bunch of friends who also do podcasts and stuff, so that they have like tons of guests, and every time they're like, we're gonna advertise some other shows from people we know, and
that just means that when we do this, we'll contact them. We'll be like, hey, we'll talk about this stuff.
But I listened to that. It was, I mean, it's fine. They do a lot of what I worry
we do
always do, that I tried to.
That's what I remember thinking. I was like, I don't like this. Like, there's a lot of. I mean, it was fine, but there's a lot of like just what they do as podcasting and talking that I don't care for, but I guarantee we do. And it's fine to not care for something. Like, it's fine to do something that you don't necessarily care for.
They do a lot of what I try to discourage on the show, which I think sometimes we do. But I try to disengage when it happens, and I also like edit a lot of that stuff out. There's a lot of like rambling in it, inside jokes. Every single episode they'll mention like Chainsaw Man or One Piece or something, or like they constantly reference like episodes they did previously, and rather than just saying like, if you want to know what that's about, listen to our.
They like recap it.
They'll recap it, and granted, they're recapping it for the new guests that they have on the show. And I was like, I guess, but you could recap it for the guests and then cut that out for the audience, and just put in like, rather than spending 10 minutes telling me the same, and when you're listening to each episode in a row like I was, you're hearing every single episode they're explaining what Beastars is, and I'm just like, you don't need to do this.
Yeah, I wonder how much editing they do.
They do mention that like, one guy was like, my mom listens to this, and I was also like, what's it like to have a parent that engages in your activities? But one guy was like, my mom listens to this, so I have to explain what all the shows are. And again, I was like, that's a good reason, but also like, you don't need to do it every episode, because if she's listening, she knows by that point. And if she doesn't, then she's not really engaged.
Well, and like you said, like you have to also kind of know your audience and what they know, and then like edit that out.
And it's just, I don't know. And part of it is like, if they whittled each of these down, if they just said like, every time we talk about One Piece, this is our like one sentence elevator pitch of what One Piece is, fine. Because I get it, you're gonna get people who, granted with something like manga flops, you're probably getting people who already know, but you might hit someone who doesn't know what One Piece is, or knows what it is but has never read it.
Yeah, and so needs a little bit of context.
And so like, that's fine, but it's every time they go on like, it's like a weird little tangent. It's probably not as long as it feels like it is, but every single time I'm just like.
And like you said, you listen to them one after the other.
Yeah. But like, I'm enjoying it. I did skip one episode because they talked about, I think it's called like Silent Symphony. What the fuck is it called? I just finished it today. Because it was one that I remember. It was one I remember reading when it was coming out, or maybe they just released all of it at once. I honestly don't remember, because it was shortly like when they just started like releasing a whole bunch of crap.
Yeah.
I honestly can't remember. But I remember reading it and being like, oh, this is interesting, but I don't really know what it is. And it was only like 20 chapters, so I was like, it's not very long. And I made it. I listened to it, or I read it for a while, and then like stopped, just because I like fell off of it because I was trying to catch up on everything else, and it just like fell deeper into the backlog. And they started talking about it, and I was like, most of these episodes they just kind of like they give you like a brief synopsis and then they just kind of talk.
Yeah.
So a lot of them, like, you only have so much of a frame of reference for what's going on. So I was like, it's probably fine if I listen. Like, I know that it, like, once it got canceled, it probably did a time skip like every single one of these seem to do. Like, you see a pattern.
Mm-hmm.
Every time they get canceled, if they know they're getting canceled and they
it's like, I gotta get everything out of the way.
It's always like rapid dash to the finish, final chapter's a time skip. So I was like, it's probably gonna have time skip, blah 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 blah. I didn't even really remember what was going on in it, so I was like, that's probably fine. And then they did the plot completely different from anything else. They did it kind of like my old bits on the show, where they just like burn through everything, and it apparently goes fucking nuts.
Oh, and so you were like, okay, like, well, I'm reading this.
The one time I was like, you know what, I am gonna, and I do the same thing with Red Letter Media, where I'm like, I'm interested in this movie, but honestly, I'm not gonna watch it for a while. I'll just I'll watch the review, and then like that's the one where they are like,
you have to watch it,
and I was just like, you gotta be fucking kidding me. So I was like, I paused it as soon as I got to that, and I was like, I already know too much, but I just want to read this and see what it's like.
Right.
And it was underwhelming. I was 9 chapters in out of 20, so I didn't have a lot left to read. I mean, I read it all like last night, and I read the last 3 this morning. But I burned through it, and it was a little underwhelming, partly because I was kind of burning through it, partly because I knew like some of the crazy stuff that happens, and I don't know, it probably would have been more bonkers if I didn't know, but when I was hitting it, I was like, I don't know, but it was interesting. And it was one of those things where they said, like, the writer for it, I believe they said the writer is a writer of light novels.
Mm-hmm.
And I know this is like a weird, broad thing to say, but it feels like a light novel writer wrote it, because there's just something about everything I have ever watched or read that was based on a light novel is always insane. And I know that like a light novel literally just is a light novel. It's not quite a novel. It's shorter. It's got like manga page pictures.
Yeah.
And that's it. But there's something about like everything that's ever been adapted from a light novel is always like bonkers by the end. And that's kind of where this goes, where it just like throws a bunch of stuff out of left field. But granted, I think the out of left field stuff, I think they said it's like chapter 7 is when you know whether you're getting canned or not.
I thought it was 8. It was like 8 or I want to say it was 10, because like 8 is.
Keep saying it, and I don't retain the information, but there's something like.
From what I remember,
you get like 3 more chapters or something, and.
Yeah, because the rankings don't come in until like 8 chapters in, like 2 months, I think.
Something like that.
And
I thought
then
it was 7, but maybe it is like 8 or 9. But yeah, it's that's when you get the rankings, and then you get like a little bit of time to clean up your act.
Yeah.
But and then you get like, once you know you're canned, you get like 3 chapters.
Well, because a volume is 8 chapters, and so usually it's like 16. Usually you get 17 chapters or whatever to fill out 2 volumes.
But I'm not exactly sure where they knew they were canceled and where they decided to start, but like it takes from what granted I don't really remember the first 9 chapters super well, but it feels like I left in the middle of an arc. Once that arc ended, a very brief arc, but like once that little arc ended, I felt like that's where it started rocketing towards an ending, and it felt like it was like rapidly introducing hints of stuff that I felt like would have been seeds sprinkled throughout a longer series, but because like they couldn't just have this like wild turn, they needed to start sprinkling it. But they were basically like setting up signs saying there's a jump scare coming like immediately before the jump scare. And so it was just like weird where like there were hints of things, and granted I also went in knowing where it was going because of the podcast, so like I was seeing these things and going, oh, that's what that is. That's why they're doing it. That's a weird thing that happened, just because it's setting up for this thing.
Yeah,
they're rocketing towards an ending. But it was interesting, and like listening to the podcast, it is very interesting to hear about these manga. It's really interesting to hear what other people think of them, because generally with manga, I only talk to you.
Well, and that was kind of where I was at, where it's interesting in the fact that it's like a subject I like paired with a different approach. You know, I don't need to listen to a podcast that's like, man, One Piece is so good. Like, it's something different.
Comic, or do you just have like a comic thing open for your sketches?
I usually work in a page layout just so I can, instead of making them different layers, I can do different, like I can try different approaches on different pages. But it's like, I like the idea of talking about canceled books, especially.
It's a similar idea of bad movies and stuff, where it's not necessarily bad, but it's just interesting to see like where this failed. Like, I love in American comics, I like reading a bunch of stuff that got canceled early, just because it's interesting to see like what those ideas were and what the answer is when you know that, like, okay, we were planning for like a long run, but we're only getting 12 issues. Here's where we either wrap everything up or we give it like a weird ending, and then I move on to my next project and I pull all these characters into my other book.
Yeah.
Which happens a lot in American stuff. I remember like Defenders gets canceled abruptly. I think it was Matt Fraction's Defenders got canceled abruptly after I think he got 18 issues, because I think it's 3 volumes. It might only be 12. But then he basically wraps it up in his run of, I think, like Fantastic Four or something, where he just like brings all these characters back and wraps it up. And that was the same thing with a lot of Brian Michael Bendis' stuff. Is some of it is he just moves on to stuff and brings everybody with him. But
it's, we've talked before about, like, there's something fascinating about the Japanese manga industry and how it's ran, and how it's just like totally rankings, it's totally trends, it's like people just kind of almost grasping at straws.
And they mention a lot of, like, they love Chainsaw Man. And Chainsaw Man was a thing that I just like read because it was quick and easy, but I always compared it to Blood. Neil
deGrasse Tyson's comic.
Neil
Adams,
Blood. Where it was just like weird and kind of gross. But with the way they talked about it, it made me want to like go back and reread it.
I know people love it. I never really got into it.
They mentioned another thing that the creator worked on before called Fire Punch, and
I know people love Fire Punch.
I looked up some stuff about that, and I was like, I'm very interested in this. And I think I was looking at, part of the problem is they keep talking about Chainsaw Man and saying how it's like not a shonen manga. And I think that was my problem reading it, was I was reading it through the lens of a shonen manga.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't that it wasn't a shonen manga and I didn't like that. It was because I was looking at it as like doing a shonen manga wrong, and I think I was taking the wrong things out of it. Like I was inferring the wrong ideas. So I'm very interested to reread it because it ended. I'm very interested at some point to sit down and reread it again, kind of all in one go, because also weekly, I never remember what was going on.
Yeah.
But I read it as like infantile, like
edginess.
Yeah, like juvenile edginess, like gross to be gross because that's cool. But hearing about, like, I read some stuff and I watched a short YouTube video about Fire Punch. I don't think that's what the intent was, and I think that's what I was putting into it, and because of that, that was all I was getting out of it. I thought it's kind of like reading, it's like the reverse. Actually, I think it's not it's kind of like people who, it's like Lobo was a parody of those edgy.
Yeah, but he is also an edgy.
Yeah, but then he's embraced by those people who don't realize that he's making fun of them, and that's not necessarily what Chainsaw Man is, but I think it's the same thing. It's like, I was seeing something that I think was commenting on and saying something entirely different from what I was taking out of it. So I'm very interested to go back and read it again. And they talked about, like, I listened to the Time Paradox Ghost Rider episode, which I really enjoyed. You did not.
Whoa. Well,
I remember you complaining hard about it.
I guess I remember at the end, I liked it. I liked it more than you did, but it was kind of like our Captain America discussion where I liked it more than you did, but I think I had more problems with it than, like, you had a big problem with it. I don't know. I just don't remember. I remember being the one that liked it.
You were hating it by the end. Like
I thought it was a total mess. And I remember being like, why are we going through all this stuff? Like, I remember getting a whole bunch of weird non-characterization with his assistants and just like...
I remember when we talked about it, and this is going off of my memory, so I could be wrong. I remember you, like, wanting completely different things out of it.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Wanted to offer, and I was interested in what it wanted to offer. I just didn't like the way it was going about it.
That's probably...
talk about it, like, they really liked it. They said, like, they can't... It was good that it got canceled because it, like, they didn't think it had any legs, and I fully agree with that from the start. I think
it could have been a cool limited series.
They were like it couldn't have gone any longer, maybe a couple more chapters to help pacing, which I kind of agree with, but I'm honestly like, I think it needed to be like limited as in like what? It probably ended at like 2 volumes, maybe 3.
I don't remember how many. I think maybe it had 16 chapters.
I think it needed maybe double its length, but that would all be fixing its pacing and giving it a little more time to breathe, because it kind of did that thing where it gets canceled and then it just like skyrockets towards an ending that I don't think it deserves.
I remember telling
faster the whole time, or it needed to slow down the whole time.
I remember having the discussion about like, this thing's definitely canceled because the pace, like, I mean, almost at like almost at like chapter 8 or 10, it just like completely shifted into a like end game. And I remember talking to you and being like, this thing's definitely canceled.
And I think I disagree with you, but that was also because, like, again...
Yeah, you were like, no, I think he's just like changing focus. And I was like, no, this feels like a cancellation.
Well, part of it is also like, I'm not used to manga.
Mm-hmm.
Not that you're really... You're more,
I'm more into it than... Yeah, I'm more like
when I read something like that, and now I'm more used to it, where I can kind of predict when something gets canceled, because you can tell. But like generally when stuff like that happens, I'm like, there's no way if it's canceled, he's not doing enough to make it to an ending. And it's not like, if he knows he's getting canceled, like, it was like a weird thing where I was like, there's no way this is going to make an ending like this.
Mm-hmm.
Like it wasn't moving fast enough, not that I wanted it to, but it wasn't moving fast enough to justify like making it towards an ending. And I think that's where I was in denial, where now I'm just like, anytime there's like a huge shift, it's either like it's getting canceled or this is their last ditch effort to save it.
Right.
And I'm still on the final volume, or the first volume of Drifting Classroom. I was gonna read it last night and I just like passed out. But that's been wild.
In a good way?
In a very entertaining way. I don't know where it's going. I don't know if it's going to stick the landing. I mean, a lot has happened to the point that, like, if you told me that it was going to end at the end of this volume, I'd believe you, because I just don't know how it has legs for like 3 times of what I'm reading. Not in a bad way, but just like, where does it go?
Yeah.
But like, it's bonkers, and it doesn't shy away from anything. There's suicide, murder, like multiple kids have jumped off the building, and you watch it. Kids have been shot, kids have been stabbed, one was eaten by a giant bug. It's bonkers, but I've been really, really enjoying it. And I finished, this is like 2 weeks ago or whatever, I finished My Brother's Husband, which was really good. I was very impressed with it. And like I said, I've been like really interested in reading stuff that isn't just your typical.
Mm-hmm.
We always say shonen, and I guess when they talk about shonen in Shonen Flop, they refer to it like. I know that shonen is a broader term, but because of Shonen Jump, like generally when I think of shonen, I think of Shonen Jump, and when I refer to shonen, I'm talking. There's a specific type of book that gets published in Shonen Jump.
Right. Yeah, I mean, and then you have like Jump Plus and V Jump and stuff like that, which have slightly different angles. But yeah, I mean, they're all like the same target demographic and stuff like that.
And I'm very interested in trying to read more things that are different. I'm not a huge Junji Ito fan, but I've been reading more Junji Ito stuff. I like a lot of his short stories. I read Ramina, which is weird, and it falls by the end. Like, it's weird, strangely paced, and by the end, it like turns into full-on like Junji Ito nonsense, which is the thing that I can't. The thing I don't like about him is I think I've said this before. He finds like anything unnatural scary, and so like a lot of his stuff is just like it's more goofy than scary, but he's just like it's weird, and that makes it spooky.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, but does it though? It's just weird. And so there's a lot of stuff in Ramina that happens in Uzumaki as well, and it was just like it was the same like stupid bullshit from Uzumaki where I was just like, this has gone too far. But it was interesting and it was different, and like My Brother's Husband is different. Drifting Classroom is very different. And it's nice reading stuff that's
not the same.
Not the same crap. But yeah, Shonen Flop's been fun. It's interesting. Like, I don't love the hosts. It falls into for people who are on a lot of podcasts and do a lot of podcasts. They also they fall into the same thing of like just two guys and a mic that I kind of hate.
Mm-hmm.
I'm always scared we sound like. Where they kind of like there's a lot of rambling. There's a lot of going off on tangents. There's like little weird in jokes. There's a lot of laughing at their own jokes that I'm just like, it's not funny. That I'm also just like, I guarantee people listen to us and think the same thing.
Yeah.
It's just, I am very picky with my podcasts.
Well, and like I said, you can put a podcast together in a way that like you wouldn't like it. That doesn't mean that it's not good, or I watch and read different things than I consume and make, and so in my neck of the woods, I picked up the Red Lantern this morning, which is like a Switch game. Yeah. It was something I remember it coming out and I was interested in it. And then I was just kind of looking through stuff and it was mentioned and in a way that I didn't expect. And I was like, oh, I'm interested in that. And it was on sale, and then I had coins, and so it was like $10. And I bought it.
That's how they get you.
No, how they get you is I bought it, and then like I had watched like a review on YouTube, and I was like, yeah, this seems fun and good. And it was a middling review or whatever. It was like, it's not like they were like, man, this is so good. They're like, yeah, it's got problems, but it's fun. And it had some stuff going for it that I was interested in. So I was like, yeah, okay, I think I'd like this. And then I bought it, and then I looked it up again, and that's when I found all the people that were like, this game sucks. Like, you shouldn't buy this. Like, it's buggy, it's boring, it's repetitive. And I was just like, oh no.
To be fair, that's what happened with No Man's Sky, and you loved No Man's Sky.
Mm-hmm. It's in the back of my head to go back to. I haven't been back to it since it got all its updates, and I liked it when it didn't have all its updates.
So have you played Red Lantern yet?
So I had Kirsten play it.
You test this out for me.
Yeah, well,
Maybe
it was something.
wife.
It was something I thought she might like. So
she likes dumb stuff. That's bad.
She likes bad things. No, it's a roguelike. So the idea is that you're going into the Alaskan wilderness to like live in a cabin or something. And so you're on a dog sled, and you're basically trying to get to the cabin. And at the start, you need to adopt like 4 more dogs for your dog sled team, and they all have different, like, there's a dog that, you know, is strong, but it also tends to be aggressive and get into fights that with like things that are bigger than it. And then there's like dogs that are like watchdogs, and then you have dogs that are, you know, are skittish or something like that. And they all kind of affect the run in a certain way, which I thought was really interesting. And I liked the idea of like picking different combinations of dogs and how it can kind of influence your run. Then you have like, you know, you have some ammunition for a rifle, like a med kit, some fire starters, and then food. And as you go through, you decide whether or not you'll go left or right at certain points. Like the sledding is fairly, it's not like you have agency in your sledding. You have a map that's fairly loose, and you know, maybe you can be like, I'm going to go left or I'm going to go right or whatever. But people were saying that like, there's not a lot of agency, and like, you know, you're not physically sledding across this environment. You're just kind of like along for the ride and just like choosing which way to go in a fork in the road. And then you can, you know, come across different animals or different events or different, you know, whatever. And when you lose, it's just kind of framed as like a daydream and like, oh man, like that's a terrible thing that can happen. I should prepare for that. And so you get, you know, you start off with more bullets or more health or something like that. And as you encounter things, you can like unlock different, you know, you saw this animal or whatever and whatnot. But I had Kirsten play it. 1, I thought she would like the dog things. 2, I thought since there wasn't really agency, she'd like just kind of like, it wouldn't bother her that just choosing the fork in the road would be a problem, you know. And it seemed decent. I was upset. I watched her do 2 runs, and I was upset she had the same event in each one. It also like left out some controls, which were weird. Like, because you can set up camp to like cook food or give your dogs food or, you know, what have you. And it just doesn't, at least neither of us remember it telling how to set up camp. And so it ended up where I was just like, just press buttons, I guess. And that's just the X button, but it never like told us. I guess she had 2 of the same encounters. But I've heard there's there's a quote that's like, there's hundreds of encounters. I don't know what that means and whatnot, but it seemed interesting. I'm excited. I think a lot of people were saying that like, hey, don't buy this game. It's, you know, not great or whatever. And then some people were like, I was kind of in the mood for this. And I was playing some Slay of the Spire yesterday and was kind of in the mood for a roguelike. I was looking at like What Remains of Edith Finch or Gone Home, and like I just wanted a small.
Have you played Gone Home?
I have not. It's always been on a list. I know people absolutely love it. I really want to, and I think that's something fun Kirsten and I can do. But I was kind of in the mood for like a tight, compact storytelling game. I was actually, especially after watching Captain America, and like he's in the big spaceship at the end and all the like catwalks and stuff. It actually made me really want to play The Order. 1886, yeah.
Game I've heard nothing but terrible things about, except from you.
Yeah. And it does have faults, but like there's a lot of like catwalk stuff, and you're in like a big Zeppelin, and it reminded me of that. I was like, I kind of want like that tight storytelling, cinematic-y like experience right now. And so I thought maybe this could be some of that. So I don't know. When I was watching Kirsten play it, I thought this could be a fun thing. I wasn't put off it. She liked it. So I'm interested in trying it. The runs were fairly short. I've heard that it's only like 4.5 hours to like beat it. I'm interested to see that when you beat it, what the replayability is. Like I said, I don't know how many dogs there are, but I know there are different dogs. Because Kirsten, like, I think there might be 10 dogs. Maybe there's only 10 dogs and you pick 5. But she passed over some. So I know there's more than you can take. And it just came out last year. I don't know if they're like working on stuff or, I don't know. It's a weird thing where it's like it has a 67% on Metacritic, but then 97% like it. So I think it's just very specific. It's probably not anything super great, but I don't know. I was kind of interested in a tight survival roguelike. I liked the theme of like the dog sledding. What made me look at it again, because it was on a list, and I was told a couple weeks ago, or maybe last week or something, that it was on sale. And I was just like, not enough for me. But I came across it in a thing where somebody was like, I'm looking for like a monster raiser or trainer or something like that, and somebody had mentioned it. And I was like, oh, really? Like, that's cool that you can train your dogs and get them to do certain things. I don't think that's a thing. I would not call it a monster raiser or trainer. I think you just pick a dog or pick dogs, and those kind of affect some interactions on the trail. But I don't know. I haven't played it yet, so I'm not. I don't really have a real opinion, but watching Kirsten, I was like, I could enjoy this, at least enough for what it is. But that's all I have to say about that.
I was playing ukulele, and it's fine. It's good. Like, I like it, but man, do I get pissed at it. But it's weird because it's a Banjo-Kazooie clone. Mm-hmm. Or homage, I suppose.
Collect-a-thon.
Yeah. And it's made, I believe it's made by people who worked on Banjo.
I believe so.
And so there's heart in it. The humor is mostly good. It does a lot of like wink wink nudge nudge, we know we're in a video game shit that all independent games do that I fucking hate. But it's mostly fine. The big thing is this is stuff I shouted to myself while I was angry playing it. It's a 3D platformer that's like made by people who had nostalgia for 3D platformers, and they don't really make those anymore. Like, Nintendo's really the only, outside of like some independent games that always suck, Nintendo's the only one that really makes these anymore. I
think maybe they've started to come back a tiny bit,
but here's the thing, like, there's a reason nobody makes them anymore. They're not good as a genre. Like, that's nothing to say that they aren't fun. They're not good. They don't work. And I mean, say the line, it's the fucking camera, but platforming does not work in 3D. It never has. That's not to say there aren't games that do it well. Nintendo definitely does it better than anyone else, but they're generally like not good. And the reason they died out is because like they started because video games became 3D, and platformers were a big part of the 2D video game market, and so someone had to find a way to translate that into 3 dimensions, because 3 dimensions were the new hot thing. But the problem is it doesn't work. You can't see properly, you can't like
I remember a long time ago when Crash Bandicoot was put on, like, I had Crash Bandicoot on the PS3, I guess. I remember playing that and just being like, oh my god, this is, like, unplayable.
Yeah. And, like, I think Crash Bandicoot is one of the ones that works better because it has a fixed camera.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But it's still...
And, like, I mean, I guess...
the Insane Trilogy, a coworker gave it to me for free for the Switch. It was fine enough to play, but, like, very quickly I was getting mad at it. And I was getting mad at it. Like, there are times that it's my skill. But, like, with my frustration with Mario 64 and Galaxy and everything, like, a lot of that is just, it's the game. The controls aren't very solid.
I just remember the like, hit detection, like, or at least the platform detection in the first Crash Bandicoot was, like, I would, like, make a jump, land on it, but that's not where the actual ledge detection was.
Oh yeah.
And it was almost, I mean, it was unplayable.
Ukulele does the same thing, where there's just times you can't. It's full of things that are, like, baffling. The controls aren't very tight. Landing on platforms is weird. You have a cast shadow because it's a modern 3D game, but you also have a dot shadow underneath you because you need to be able to use your shadow to judge where you're going to land, and your cast shadow will not do that for you. The very first boss I fought I was livid. I had to turn the game off. I was so fucking angry. Because granted, some of it didn't properly convey its information to me. I was doing stuff wrong, but even knowing what I do correctly, it was still hard because you have to, like, use your roll ability to roll up an incline, but that depletes a meter. You have to jump over logs. When you get up there, there's like a 50-50 shot based on timing, which is impossible to do when you have to roll up and dodge logs, that he might be spitting fire, and if he spits fire, you get hit, but you can't, like, wait it out, because if you wait it out, you will get hit by a log or run out of energy and slide all the way back down. You can jump over his fire, but fuck me, I could not figure out how. Sometimes I could jump over his fire, and sometimes I couldn't, because I had no idea where the hit detection was. And so, like, I would take massive amounts of damage, and after, like, you had I think I explained this to you the other day, but, like, he was like a wall with a face, and he had teeth, and, like, for each phase he had more teeth that you had to break in order to, like, move on to the next phase of the battle. But his teeth would only be visible when he wasn't blowing fire, and then his teeth would, like, sink into his mouth, and then he would start shooting fire. And the hit collision on being able to hit those teeth was absurd, especially the ones that were on the upper jaw, because your jump attack is wildly inaccurate. And several times I would hit a tooth and it wouldn't register, and then they would disappear, and I'd be like, I gotta fucking do this all goddamn over again. And after you, like, break all his teeth, he'll have a little thing where he says something, and then he blows wind at you and knocks you back down the slope. But you slide down the slope faster than the logs roll, and the logs are already guaranteed to hit at least one log on the way down to take damage. And it's horseshit. And I was so angry, and he fucking talks all the time, and every time you die and start over,
you have to listen to it.
He talks more, and it's just like, shut up, shut up, shut up, shut up, shut up. I just want to move on and finish this. And I twice, I landed the final hit, but I didn't, because the game didn't register that hit because of whatever with the hit detection. And then I would die, and I was just, you gotta be fucking kidding me. I gotta start all the way at the beginning again. And there's, like, health, you eat butterflies for health. There's health at the beginning, like, at the start of the level, so you can get some hits back early on. But if you die and respawn, they don't come back. So it only gets harder. And if you, like, at one point I was just like, fuck it, I can't. I took too many hits early on. I was just like, fuck it. I jumped off the edge of which was a bad move, because that meant I had to travel all the way. And navigating the levels is horrid because as far as I can tell, there is no map. So you just got to remember where things are, and like you will constantly encounter things that you don't have an ability for yet. But you don't know whether you have, like, sometimes it's hard to tell if you don't have the ability you need or if you just don't, if you're not doing it right. Especially because there are so many times where like hit detection and stuff is off, where it's just like, do I need this? Do I need to do this a certain way? Do I just need to luck into it, or do I not have? And there's one in another level that I like wasted so much time trying to do, and there was a ghost trapped in a block of, there's like ghosts that you gotta catch. There's a ghost trapped in a block of ice, and I was like, okay, down on the ground there's fire flowers that I can eat that will let me spit fireballs. So I just gotta grab one of those, and before the extremely short timer for that runs out, I gotta run all the way up here and blow fire onto the ice. And the fire, just like the boss's fire, is impossible to detect where it's going to hit. So I would run up there multiple times, and it would run out just as I got there. Or I'd have to fuck with the camera, because the camera is trash in this game. I'd have to fuck with the camera to face the right way, and then it would run out, and I'd be like, or I'd fall off the edge, and I'd have to keep doing it over and over again. And I finally made it up there, and I blew fire on it straight ahead, and nothing happened, and then the fire ran out like a second in. And I was like, did I do this wrong? Like, did the fire just not hit it because it ran out too fast? Or what am I not doing? Why did it not break open? And finally, I was just like, I'm not running up here one more time. I give up. I'm looking on the internet. And I looked it up. It turns out that wasn't a block of ice. It's a block of glass. It looks exactly like ice. It can't be melted with fire. And instead, it uses a power that I didn't have yet that I find in the next world. And I was just like, why? Why not make it a different color?
Because glass and ice look the same.
I mean, why not make it yellow or purple or something? It's in an ice level. The level was an ice level. So I had no reason to believe it wasn't ice. Like, if I had encountered it in a lava level or something else, I might have gone like, maybe that's not ice. But I was in an ice level that had ice everywhere that I needed to melt.
That looked the same.
The only difference is it had a little like explosion symbol on it. But I didn't know what that meant, and I was just like, that's weird. That might mean something. But I was like, there's fire right here within range of this thing. I'm in an ice level. I gotta use ice. And it wasn't it. And like, you encounter stuff like that constantly in the game. And like, there's a neat thing where every level you, once you get like 5 of the pages, there's like pages that you collect. Once you get 5 of them, you get the option. Actually, I don't even think you have to have 5. I think you can do it right at the beginning if you have enough. But whatever it is, you have to pay pages to unlock a level, and then you can pay pages to expand a level and make it bigger and have more stuff in it. And in the very first level, I was like, I'm going to try and do everything in the first that I can. So once it told me that I could expand the level, I expanded it, I ran around there, and then I kept and I was just like, I am wasting time traveling this fucking huge-ass map this huge-ass level with no map, not knowing where I am, encountering stuff that I'm going to have to come back to that I won't remember where it is. I was like, I just need to move on to the next world and get all the power so that I can come back here. Fell swoop. I'm tired of hitting roadblocks and then being like, I'm not going to remember where this is once I have the power for it.
Right.
And like, in the last level that I was playing, there's a giant wall of glass, and I finally got the power that you use. It's like a sonic explosion thing that explodes glass, and I was like, I gotta use this sonic explosion on the glass. I do it, nothing happens, and I was like, okay, maybe I need to get closer, because there's like a ramp leading up to the wall is above the ground. There's a ramp leading up to it, but the ramp stops short, and then there's like a gap between the ramp and the wall. And I was like, okay, maybe the edge of the ramp is too far, so maybe I have to jump in the air and do my sonic explosion. You can't jump in the air and do your sonic explosion because it requires the button that makes you do the ground pound. So I was like, okay, maybe I need to like jump over to the glass. Like, that seems bullshit. There's not a ledge, but you can, like, if you push yourself, you can make yourself land right in front of the glass and just kind of hang. And so I did the sonic explosion there. Nothing happened. There are bee enemies all over the level that are a pain in the ass to kill. And it's like in a small room.
Right.
So they kept dealing damage and killing me, and I kept like spawning back, and I was like, I cannot figure out how to blow up this stupid fucking wall. Finally, in the corner of the room, there was a plant that is very hard to see because it's black and blends in with everything else. That's another big problem with the game, is a lot of stuff doesn't really stand out super well. It's very easy to miss things. A plant that when you eat it lets you shoot bombs, and I was like, okay, maybe I got to shoot a bomb at the glass. So I get the power. You have just enough time to run up, and I keep shooting the bombs, but the bombs, unlike everything else that you spit out at an arc, and they kept dropping short. And I was like, you gotta be fucking kidding me. And the bees kept fucking killing me. I kept trying to kill the bees, but it's hard to aim the bombs because the only way to properly aim is to go into first-person mode where you click in the left stick, but unfortunately they must have been like too many people accidentally clicking the left stick, so you have to click it twice, which makes it incredibly cumbersome. And by the time you click it and then slowly aim at what you're trying to aim at, the bees shoot you with their bombs and die. And I was like, fuck this. But I finally was able to get to the edge of this stupid thing, go in my first-person mode, shoot the bombs, and hit the wall. Nothing happened. I was like, what do I need to do? I was like, maybe the bees shoot their bombs at it, and I just got to lure a bee over the bomb at it. Nope, that wasn't it. I looked online. Someone's like, that. Yeah, everyone, like, every time I find one of these, someone is like, I have tried literally everything, and nothing will break this thing. What am I doing wrong? And someone's like, yeah, I know it looks like this one power, but it's actually a different power that you get later that you get to use. And it's just like, why doesn't it look different then? Just make it look different.
Oh boy.
And I quit yesterday because I fought a boss that was fucking horseshit. Because it was impossible to tell where his hit collision was. And he dealt 2 damage for every hit, so I died super fast. And every boss is in 3 phases, so it just like I don't like boss fights. I've said this before. I really hate boss fights in video games, and a lot of it is like the waiting. It's waiting for the opportunity, just dodging attacks until they glow red, and then you get like a 5-second window to hit them. And if you were too far away while dodging, you don't have enough time to run up to them and hit them. And I hate that stuff.
Yeah.
It is the worst. And so I was just like, I don't need to play this right now. And so I booted up Lego Harry Potter, and that was like the perfect, like, completely turn off your brain game.
So,
I had to draw something, and it is not coming out well.
Yeah, tell me about it. So, Kirsten,
professional artist.
I wasn't looking at the chat. Kirsten had chimed in and said she had the same encounters because she was going in the same direction, which I think is fair, but I also find I don't like the idea that the encounters aren't randomized and that they're just always at the same spot. That's not that interesting to me. She said she went a different direction later and had very different encounters. So we'll see what happens, but I think it'll be fine for me. I think it'll be. I'm interested to try it, and watching her play it, I was like, this seems like it could be good. That was a fast hour. I'm still here. I'm still here, but.
Yeah, I don't know what I'm doing. I got 4 episodes left in Colorado Ghost, and I'm done with that. It is not as bad as everybody makes it sound. It's not perfect.
Oops. That's because it was.
So now what do we want to talk about?
I don't know.
I always forget. Do you watch any Lindsay Ellis videos?
Yeah. I just told you I watched... Oh, no, I just told you I watched the...
Yeah, that was... When you said fine, was that like it's not good, or... Did you just draw that big old eyeball in literally a second? I like looked away and then looked up and there's a big old eyeball and I love it.
This is Krakow.
I was gonna say, is that Krakow?
Well...
Did you literally just saw that a second ago, or did you just like switch to a page and I didn't realize there was something there?
I just drew it.
I've never seen you draw something so fast.
It's only Krakow. It's a cloud with an eyeball.
I'm proud of you. You always like... I don't know. I feel like I'm the fast... you're definitely the better drawer, but I feel like I'm the faster one.
That's because...
Nice to see you like crack something out. Heyo.
No, this is...
Oh, that's good. I love it.
This is my... Just wait. Just you wait. This is my brilliant... This is my brilliant... I want to say alma mater, but what's your modus operandi? What's magnum opus?
This is your alma mater.
No, but the Vampire Diaries thing was... You and Colin both said it was really good, and it was good. It was just kind of like a Lindsay... It felt like a Lindsay Ellis video, or a Jenny Nicholson video, I mean.
Yeah.
Like...
I thought it was pretty funny.
I didn't think it was any, like, better or worse than her other videos.
It's mostly just, like, I thought it was fucking... Like, what a weird...
Yes.
Everything. And it's kind of like it's the same, it hits the same realm as like Shonen Flop, where it's just like, I love hearing about like these just like weird thing. I love hearing about like shows where a writer leaves or an actor quits, or
right.
you gotta like write around things.
The whole bit about like the vampire hunter guy that was like, okay, he's dead, but he started out good, alive, and dead, or good, alive, and non-vampire, and then he dies, but he comes back to life alive, and then he dies and becomes evil, and then he gets turned into a vampire, and like just constantly changing.
Mm-hmm.
So this isn't what I envisioned, but this is what it was. This is Kirby Krakow.
Oh, I get it. That is your
alma mater.
I was like, what was the dumb thing he said?
No, because I was going to do Kirby Crackle for this Watchers thing. And then I was like, Krakow. I looked it up because I feel like Kirby Crackle is always something that, like, I know what it looks like, and then I draw it, and I'm like, this doesn't look right. I mean, it really is just, like, stippling. And then when I looked it up, Krakow, it was like, Kirby Krakow, and I was like, oh my gosh! How come no one's done this? I'm sure people have, but I should have done it more like, instead of, like, he's in space, I should have done it more like his lightning later. This is what's gonna make me internet famous. By stealing something somebody else invented. This brush is like perfect for it though. It's like just the right amount of roughness. But no, like, was it something that needed to be 2.5 hours? Probably not. It was easy enough 2.5 hours to watch. It's just harder to find a spot to put it in.
I like those 2.5 hour videos. Like, I like those long ones because they're good for, like, I got time to kill.
Yeah, see, I just don't
have time to kill. You're a busy boy.
Well, it's more of a, like, I mean, I can watch 4 hours of 1 hour videos, but it's just like, I needed to it's been a while. I held off watching it for so long because I was like, I just don't have the 2.5 hours right now. And then watching it, I was like, oh, this is like a good Jenny Nicholson video.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And I'm glad I made time to watch it. It was just like, I don't know if it was...
I would not have watched it if I wasn't... I would not have watched it anytime soon if I was not working from home and just able to, like...
turn it on in the back, yeah.
Man, nothing like coming back to a drawing way too long afterwards and being like, I don't remember what I was doing with this, I don't remember where I'm going, and it is not coming out right.
But yeah, I watched Lindsay Ellis. Kirsten's actually been watching a ton of Lindsay Ellis. But we just watched the trans video yesterday.
See, I watched that, but
I know you watched it a while ago.
I watched the companion, give or take, because she references ContraPoints at the beginning of hers.
Yeah.
I watched that ContraPoints video finally because it was the same kind of like, I don't know ContraPoints. I've never watched anything by her. I just know her name and her face, and that's all. I didn't even know her. I knew ContraPoints. And I knew her face, and I think Lindsay's referenced her before. It's one of those like YouTube people are all friends with YouTube people.
Well, that's like, I mean, that whole transgender video. I was sitting there. Every time it came up, I asked Kirsten, "Is that Jenny Nicholson?" And it was, because Jenny Nicholson reads the J.K. Rowling stuff.
The male voice, who I don't know if he's in that one, but I think he is.
He's been on a couple of hers.
One is Folding Ideas, and the one that always laughs at the stuff he has to read, that's H-Bomber Guy.
Okay.
Which I did not realize until I started watching H-Bomber Guy videos. But I watched the ContraPoints video, which was good. It's 90 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I put it off because I didn't know her. I didn't know anything about it. So I was just like, I don't know if I have like 90 minutes to watch this. But after watching Lindsay's, I was like, I kind of like to see another video on this subject. Hers is very different. It's less funny. There are some funny bits. I actually laughed out loud at a couple stuff, but it's a little not necessarily serious, but it's coming at it from a different angle, which is weird. Because I think her name is Natalie.
That sounds right, but I don't know.
Natalie or Nicole? I think it's Natalie. She's a trans woman, which I did not know until she said that, which made me really interested to watch it because it puts a completely different perspective on it. But it's weird because she starts off, for lack of a better way of defining it, defending J.K. Rowling. Not really defending, giving her the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah.
And so she looks at it through a lens of like, why, how could someone who said this still say that she supports trans people? But then it takes a turn and it goes in some other direction. It's very good. It's very informative. It's very Lindsay's video. I think they are good like companion pieces, intended or not.
Mm-hmm.
But it was very interesting. I don't know if I would watch more. All the other ones that were suggested, like she mentions in her video that she did a video on like cancel culture and something else where I was just like, I guess she's known. She mentions in her video that she's known for like empathizing with the villains of her pieces.
Uh-huh.
And she says, like, you know, you have to understand where the villains come from, otherwise you become a villain yourself. I'm paraphrasing, but that's essentially what she says, which I think is a very good point.
Yeah.
But I guess it gets her a lot of flack.
Oh, because she's...
Mm-hmm. Especially because I guess she comes out on the opposite end of a lot of, like, I guess a lot of trans don't like her, is what she was saying. Or at least she gets a lot of hate from trans people just because of the stuff she says and the side she takes. So I don't know. I was interested in watching. I haven't, because also, like, you watch one video in isolation and it's not always indicative of everything else they do.
Yeah.
The very first H-Bomber Guy video I watched was far different from almost anything he puts out now. But I think all of his stuff is very interesting. It's also, it sucks when you watch a YouTube person for the first time and you're like, I'm gonna want to watch more stuff that they've done, and then you like burn through their entire catalog in like a day. You're like, they've been doing this for 6 years, but that means they put like 2 videos out a year.
Yeah. It's like quality over quantity, and you're like, I really need that quantity right now.
I want more crap.
Yeah.
Give me more stuff. I am overworking this bullshit.
But no, it was nice to watch. I haven't really watched a lot of YouTube in a while. It was nice. It was nice to watch.
Where I was watching a ton.
Kirsten was like absolutely loving Jenny Nicholson's. She had that like infomercial joke, reoccurring joke, and it like hit her perfect every time. About like the
yes. The like you were watching
women in like it was like Vietnam Beach or whatever it was.
Yeah, that kind of stuff hits me. It reminds me of the
Ishtar.
Ishtar, yeah. We're not here to talk about Star Wars. We're here to talk about Ishtar.
So 9/11.
I get through those kicks where I'm like, I'm gonna rewatch a bunch of Red Letter Media. And then I stop.
Yeah, we finally caught up to the Dice Tower.
They put out, I still have to watch.
Yeah, I haven't watched a lot of their Best of the Worst in a long time, and I have 2 half in the bags. What are you drawing?
Forza.
What's a Zay?
Yeah. I really need to keep saying this. I need to edit. I did really well editing that first episode, and then I hit that roadblock, and it's like, I have a reason to not do this for.
Yeah, I was thinking, and I've been thinking of this for a while, but I'm like, I can't believe Andrew hasn't, like, been like, because I know we like doing those April Fool's episodes. I'm like, I mean, that means we got to post this month. We can't do like a April Fool's episode for our first episode, or can we?
Technically, that would be a pretty good joke.
But it's just like, I was like, oh, I got to do this art and stuff.
Yeah, I gotta finish it. I keep meaning to, and then it didn't help that like we kind of started late, and then.
Well, and like I wasn't really on anything that like any sort of timetable until I thought, oh, he wants to do a April Fool's episode. It's like, okay, well, it's March.
Yeah, I gotta finish editing that first one, and honestly, all that I have left for that one is getting. I mean, at the point, I should have just like made my own, but like all I need is that Shania Twain thing, and then I can. That first one's.
Oh yeah.
Outside of like artwork and all that, like that one's done. Everything's edited. I think I even put the intros and everything in. It's literally it just needs the outro. It might need that, but everything's edited. And I was like, there's no reason why I can't just like sit down and do that with all of them, and then just throw in the music once it's ready. But I basically just like it was one of those things where like I was in that like middle area of a mood where I was just like I could just like not.
Mm-hmm.
Like I have a reason to stop. No one can hold it against me. No, you can keep working.
Why does Uatu have a booby on his chest?
It's not a booby. It's a flower.
Is it?
Everybody's got a booby on their chest. Most people have two.
Tubies. Is it?
Boobies.
Is it really a dandelion? Does he have a dandelion on his?
I don't know. That's what you're drawing. I don't know what is on his chest. I assume a medallion.
A vampire trophy?
A vampire trophy.
That's good.
I did not think that was going to hit you.
Oh my god, that was like the best thing you've ever said. That was your alma mater. Oh yeah, that's good. Also, this makes no goddamn fucking sense, Jack Kirby, you hack. This doesn't look like Kirby,
Hack
actually.
Kirby?
This doesn't look like Kirby. It doesn't even have Kirby cackle. Crackle. Kirby cackle. Do you think... How about female Uatu? How about this Lego Uatu? Okay, this is hysterical.
What, are you sending me something?
Yeah. This freaking Lego Uatu.
somewhere. Oh, here it is.
Do you ever realize that when I draw Uatu, I just draw Voldemort?
Is that something your wife just told you?
No, that's something Seth told Seth.
How about that Lego Uatu?
It was
Is that official, or is that a fan made one?
It was the headpiece that sold me.
That's got to be fan made, because an official one they would not put the headpiece. They'd just be like, "Hey, Paul." Although, what would that headpiece be? No, there are pieces that look like that. So, actually, looking at his pants and his that's definitely fan made.
He doesn't wear pants, he wears a skirt.
I can't erase this. How does this? I really can't erase this.
Are you on a different layer? Probably.
No, I'm on the layer. I put in like a flash effect because I didn't want to draw these stupid. But it doesn't look like I can erase it. Erase over it. Instead, I should put a layer over it. And draw over it.
Do you like the idea of Mondo the Living Planet as much as me?
I don't know. I guess if you're asking that, I suppose not. He's fine.
I just love the idea of like huge things that are sentient.
Wait, you mean Mogo? Or is Mondo, what's Ego? Ego, the Living Planet is the Marvel one.
Mogo's the Green Lantern.
Yeah.
Mondo is like a toy company.
The Magician.
Is that true?
Mondo the Magician? I'm pretty sure that's a thing.
Mondo's a toy company. Or Mondo is like the art.
You're thinking Migos.
I'm thinking Mondo is the art. They're like an art collective. They did all the art for like Unmatched and stuff. But no, I love shit like that. What are your opinions? You're fine with shit like that.
Yeah.
It's fine.
I guess that's where I land. I'm fine with it.
No, I was like trying to think of like Ragged Rider towns. And I came up with Camp Butt. Which never gets old. It's so dumb. But also Bodhi the Ghost Town, but it's an actual like ghost town. It's like a talking ghost town. Do you like that?
Sure. As an idea, fine. I mean, that's not the...
Yeah, you make it great.
No, I'm just saying, like, I don't know. That as like a goofy, like, here's a thing. Yeah.
Here's like Ragged Rider just going to a town and the town just like talking to him, being like, "Hey, what's up?"
So you mean like Danny the Street?
Yes. Yes. I mean, I absolutely love stuff like that. I mean, how great is the sentence, "Danny is a living and sentient piece of urban geography"?
Pretty great. Pretty great. Let me tell you.
Notable alias: Danny the World, Danny the Brick, Danny the Island, Danny the Alley, Danny the Ambulance.
How about he's an ambulance? That's in the most recent one. This is not doing
I forgot about Danny the Street. Now I'm looking at all these like Flex Mentallo drawings.
This is not.
I was gonna say something. That's why I started talking. I heard everyone was pissed at WandaVision.
I figured they would be. I have not looked at what anybody.
I was going to send you something. I didn't know if you had watched it. It was basically... I don't think it's a spoiler. It was basically a headline that was like... Everyone's pissed that WandaVision didn't do the thing it never promised.
Yeah, I mean, I went in with no real expectations. My biggest thing is, like, honestly, I was worried it was going to do more than it. And I actually was glad with how small it was. The only thing is, I will say, like, because of hype and because of everything, like, it did what I wanted Mandalorian to do, and Mandalorian failed to do, which means that season 2 will probably do what I didn't want it to do. But it was small. It did exactly what it needed to do. The big thing with the ending is that it leaves a lot unresolved for later seasons in a way that I think it should have just been a miniseries, especially because I know that, like, from where it ends...
If there's anything we say, everything should be a miniseries.
That's true. But from where it ends, it ends leading into Doctor Strange. Just because I know she shows up in that, and she might be showing up in the Spider-Man movie too. I'm not sure. But from where it ends, it kind of puts her in a position for that. But it leaves like a couple unanswered questions that don't really matter. But one where granted I was working while watching it. There was one thing where it ended, and I was like, I missed something, or it just like didn't resolve a thing, and I was like, it's part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. That thing will show up, and it has potential to just like not matter anymore, but show up in the next movie or series or whatever, which is fine. But it's kind of an annoying way to watch, where you're not really watching a show. You're watching part of a cog. You're watching part of a piece of things.
Yeah. Which
the show wasn't. I mean, it comes out of the movies, but honestly, you could watch it mostly on its own. But it wasn't really that until the finale. But on the opposite end of all the whiners, like, it didn't go as far as everybody else wanted it to, and I did not. So I was actually mostly fine with it.
Yeah, but you don't tend to like things that other people like. That's how we roll.
I do not.
That's how we get the hot takes, so that people have to.
I have my own personal opinions. Copyrighted. OC, do not steal.
Original idea. Do not steal.
But that means the problem with having like opinions that are different, because I don't know. Somewhere in high school, I just decided to like what I like.
Be the contrarian.
Yeah, that's everybody thinks you're the contrarian. Everybody thinks stuff because.
Oh, you just don't want to be part of the machine.
Yeah. Which, I mean.
Who does want to be part of the machine?
Yeah, sure. I don't want to be part of the machine, but I also like. I don't know. I have my opinions. I like what I like. I don't like what I don't.
See, and that's the problem, really.
That is. I need to like what everybody else likes.
If you like what everybody else likes, then we don't have any problems.
Oh.
Now what?
I don't like it anymore. I don't know what I'm doing, and I'm just like, I keep fucking with it. I'm making it worse. I love wiki pages. Like fan wikis. They're just like full of like
nonsense
and that only they care about.
What are you looking up?
I was
Danny the Street?
No, I was looking up some Kamen Rider stuff, and there's like a thing for I looked up Forze, and there was a thing that like lists, where is it? It lists Forze, and it was like Kamen Rider. There's like an article for Kamen Rider Forze Rider, and then it has all the different people who have been Forze, of which there is really only one, except for two exceptions. One,
Danny the Street.
In one of the Gaim movies, there's alternate universe versions of everybody in like sort of feudal Japan thing. And so Forze appears briefly in that. And so they have that one in there. And then they have Kohei Hayami, Imposter, because in like one episode, he makes himself look like Forze and then disappears. But they got to list them in there because that is information. Relevant, important, doesn't matter. All that matters is that it is information to put on the wiki page. Even though it has fake Kamen Rider Forze in the derivation section. So why even have the imposter one on there? I guess that's... whatever. All I'm trying to look up is how to spell this thing.
Do you think Uatu is...
No, I don't think. What do I think?
Do you think... What do you think came first? Uatu's collar or Deadman's collar?
Uatu.
I don't know, man. I know Uatu's like from the beginning of the universe, but I don't know. That man's pretty old too. Also, this costume is the worst. Doesn't make any sense.
My
Are you sharing your screen? I'm not looking at it.
Nope, I can't.
Oh, yeah.
Share.
It's against your beliefs to share it with me.
God damn it.
What has Grant Morrison been up to? Just living his best life?
Yeah, I guess so.
I was going to look it up, but I was going to finish this first. Nah.
Fair enough.
Oh, are you looking it up?
What am I? Oh, what he's doing? No.
I just heard flash.
I'm talking to my cell phone.
Oh, I didn't know that. I watched Mom and Dad. I didn't realize... maybe I did realize that was Grant Morrison. Let's see here. What do we got? Green Lantern. Oh, yeah. Was this Green Lantern? I remember we both started as Green Lantern and we're like, yeah, it seems like crazy Grant Morrison shenanigans.
Yeah, I forgot. I read it. I read the first issue, and I have the first volume. I might even have the first 2 volumes digitally, but I have not read them yet.
An issue of Detective Comics, or a thing in Detective Comics with as part of an anthology. Wonder Woman.
Oh yeah, he did Earth 1.
Earth Wonder Woman.
3, which I don't have yet. I've read 1 and 2.
He did 1 and 2.
No, I'm saying I've read 1 and 2. I have not read 3. Just came out.
Yeah. Klaus and the Life of Times of Joe Christmas.
Oh yeah, I read that. I love Klaus.
Heavy metal issue. Yeah.
Studio that can do speed lines for me?
Yeah. I think it's in the materials. You can also use the perspective tool.
Ooh, streamline.
Is that in the materials?
I just found it. It's not doing anything. What am I doing wrong?
Where'd you find it?
How do I stop it? It's just like making connected lines. I don't know what's happening. It's under the gradient tool. I don't know what this thing. Nothing's labeled. Oh my god. How do I stop it? It won't stop making a line. It's not making the lines I want. It's like the last. And I don't know what's going on. I can't make it go away. Oh, there we go. That's weird. I don't care for that, but okay. Scattered stream. Oh, I see. I got it.
Yeah, where are speed lines? I haven't used them in a long time. I always do my own now.
I was gonna do my own and they were not coming out straight. I was just like, fuck that. This is weird.
I guess, like I said, I've done it with a perspective grid.
It's under it's figure. Figure is the name of the tool now that it's showing me. I don't know why it didn't show me before when I was trying to see it.
Where
I
is
don't
it?
understand how it works, but
Where's that figure tool?
it's I don't know. It's under gradient,
Oh.
which is underneath the paint bucket.
I don't have that. All right. Oh my god, it's almost been 2 hours.
Look at that.
I thought I just looked at the clock at like 12:55. How did it already go from... All right. Well, I think that's...
How much you got done?
Yeah, I did do pretty... I did pretty. But that's going to be it for me today. So, thanks for hanging out. If you liked it, tell a friend. If you didn't like it, lie to a friend. Check out the links in the description below. That's all our social media and stuff. Everything is super... or yada, 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 whatever. I believe I'm going live tomorrow night with Arkham Horror, the card game. I've been kind of cutting back some streaming, which has been really nice for me, but I should still be up for that. And then again, if you interact with those buttons and stuff, you'll be notified when we're going live. So have a good rest of your day, and I will hopefully catch you next time. Bye.
Perfect timing. You want to see my terrible drawing?